So I started about halfway through, I think it would have been little kindy, so I was 4.5 when I started. Still at the Araluen site, and Mum and I came from Sydney, started halfway through the year.
There'd just been a fire through all that beautiful corkwood forest had been disappeared. There were no buildings. What did that feel like for you?
I remember the sort of adult conversations around the fire and everything, but I think as a kid you just kind of just take what, you're just like, oh, okay, great, this is sort of what's happening. I remember that there was a lot of, excitement and, conversations about the new site and that whole the story of the fire and everything.
You were in grade 1 then when you started, or still in kindy?
I think it must have been grade 1, yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, we were in one of the demountables, and I had Trisha was my teacher. And I remember there being lots of excitement around when new things would come for the school. So I remember we got a sand pit at some point, and there was different things sort of coming, and I don't know how many classes there would have been at that stage, but there was the decision made to have the composite classes. So then my little year level of however many kids then had the kind of fresh kids come that were when we were in year 2 to have the composite class. So that was like a new thing for all of us at that time. I remember Trisha started growing some roses around the classroom, and we had 1 or 2 sort of things to play with in the sandpit, and one of them was this digger thing. And I remember I played a game with it where I was doing something where I filled it up with sand and then put a big rock on the handles to hold it up, and the rock fell on my foot, and I had this horrible thing with my toe and had to, eventually the nail came off. It was all very gross. But there was all sorts of things like that. I think that was a really great thing about the school, is that I think partly because of the philosophy of everyone that created the school, but also because of this sort of continual, at the time that we were there anyway, or I was there, the kind of continual creation of it. It was all kind of this ad hoc sort of thing of us using what was around to play with and making use of what was available. But I think for me, in terms of content delivery, Steiner was a really effective way for me to learn, because I was really drawn to creative stuff. So like the drawing as a way of learning was really valuable for me, and I loved doing the plays that we did. I loved music. I loved to sing.
Before we came to Alice Springs, I had been exploring Steiner education, and that was what I thought I wanted for Rubes, and that was a big part because of the fostering of the imagination and not introducing more conceptual aspects of learning until later on. I loved that the imagination was really nurtured from early on, and so it was a delight to find that there was a Steiner school in Alice Springs, and that was probably a big part of my decision to move there, or it's certainly a contributing factor. But I have to say that the purpose-designed buildings were a delight to see as they sort of one by one started appearing at the new premise.
Was Steiner education exactly as you had imagined it would be?
I think I discovered more to it. Just one aspect of our Steiner experience was her learning to read. And it just seemed like just quietly she'd been given all the building blocks that she needed. And then there was this one day when I turned around in the car to see what she was up to in the back seat, and there she was reading a book, and I didn't know she could read yet. Just suddenly there it was a magical thing. So that's as I remember it.